Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see you all here. I'm so super duper excited. My name is Karen Carrington, and I am a talk show host, mental health advocate. I am an author, and I am your host for today. So I am super duper excited for today's segment. We are here on behalf of the town of Aurora Black Community Black History Month event. It's been a great month of just so many different topics and so many different guests. And what's really exciting for me is that I am your host today. So I'm honored to do this. I'm honored to spend time with all of you. I'm honored to speak about such great topics that really need to come to the forefront. Today, we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to be talking about racism and mindset and forgiveness and emotions. And we are going to be talking about so many things that really need to be discussed. And that's exactly what Black History Month is all about, is talking about the things that really we should be talking about all year round. But what's great about February is that it's going to come to the forefront. So what I'm going to do is just wait for a couple of you to come on. And I am so excited to see you all. If I just want to say hello, and if you just want to say where you're coming from. Hi, Rebecca. It's so good to spend time with you. It's so good to see you here. I can't wait to see what you want to add to the conversation. I'm really all about everybody coming together in the community and adding what they want to say. So feel free to be a part of the discussion. And like I said, for those of you who are just joining, my name is Karen Carrington. I will be your host for tonight. I'm a mental health advocate and a certified personal development trainer. And I'm also a really, really, really great friend of Fiona's. And that's why I'm so honored to have her here with me. We're going to bring her up in a few seconds. And before we do that, hi, good evening. Before we bring up our guest for today, I just really want to honor everyone who has been celebrating Black History Month in their own special way. There's so many ways to celebrate Black History Month. We could do that by just really familiarizing ourselves with our history. There's really a lot of resources out there. So I just want to hear how you guys have been celebrating Black History Month. So that being said, I'm so excited to have our first guest here with us tonight, and that is Fiona. Fiona, are you here with us today?
I am right. You're beautiful. How are you?
Oh,
I'm in the guest seat.
you're glowing. You are glowing. Before we
How are you?
start, can you tell me what is your secret? What is
This
what is
smile
what
and
is
having friends like you, just
uh you look honestly, you just look stunning. And
thank you.
your energy, your smile. I'm so excited to do this with you tonight. You have
Thank you.
such let's go there for a second, Fiona. How did we met? What? I think this will be our about 2-year anniversary.
Yes. I was on your amazing show for Valentine's, and it was just such an honor. It's
Yeah.
great when women meet another woman who understand them and want to celebrate life with them, and you made it so easy. So thank you.
Thank you for that. And for those of you guys who may not be familiar, my talk show is called The Karen Carrington Show, and Fiona and I had some great discussions, and we're going to do that again here today.
Yeah.
Right. So, Fiona, just for those who may not know you, can you just give a little brief description of who you are and what you're all about?
Ooh, I'm so many things, but let's just say I'm just so honored to be a part of this community called Aurora. I'm a mom, a phenomenal wife of two beautiful children. Lived here in Aurora for over 14 years. I'm the owner of Coconut Village Nail Spa, the best and only Black nail spa in this place. I love it, love it. Just because you were surprised when I told you, I am a social worker. That's what I've done for many, many years. So I just love people. I love life. And so I've run a daycare for 13 years in Aurora, and that's just a little piece of my background, and had the opportunity to be hosting and just being a part of Aurora Black community for the Black History Month. So it's been tremendous, and I'm excited to be on and as guest to talk with you tonight.
I love it. And the name of your spa again?
Coconut Village Nail Spa.
I love it. And I love it. And I love you. So that being said, speaking of love, there's another person who I'm just absolutely in love with. And she is also a good friend of mine. And she is another guest with us today. Her name is Jennifer, and she has so much to bring to the table. I can't wait to get into a deep dive with Jennifer. Jennifer, are you here with us today?
Hello.
Jennifer, thank you so much for just coming to the table and adding so much great value to the discussion. You are also in Aurora, correct?
Yes, I am.
And how long have you been there?
I've been here for 20 years.
Woo! Awesome. And any plans of leaving?
No.
So, Jennifer, just to get our viewers up to speed, if you could briefly just give us an idea, we'll get deeper into it as the conversation goes, but and can you just make sure and let us know who you are and what you're all about? And let's speak right into the microphone.
Okay. So I'm Jennifer. I moved to Aurora 20 years ago. I have a young man who's turning 27 at the end of this month on the 28th, who has Down syndrome. So we moved out of Scarborough into Aurora so that he could have a little bit more easier access to get around the community, to have a life outside of the home.
And sorry, how old is he again?
He's 27 on the 28th of this month.
Ooh, 27 on the 28th. And I remember when we were talking about him, I kind of wished he was born on the 29th, just to spice it up a bit, right? But let's go there for a second. I'm going to start with you, Jennifer. I'm just going to ask you a question. You said that he has Down syndrome.
Yes.
So for those of us who may not be exactly familiar with that, what does that entail?
It's an extra chromosome, which causes him to have some delays.
Got it.
Yes.
And as a mother, you were quite much younger when you had him, correct?
I was. I got pregnant when I was 20, and I had him when I was 21. So back then, they didn't check. They didn't do the stuff they do now. Like the testing now is so different. The testing they had back then was not the same. And also because I was young, I wasn't a high risk, as they would say. Because a lot of people, they used to say you had to be over 35.
Right. Yes. And I remember when we were talking, we both have a son who are the same age.
Yes.
And I had my son when I was 26 weeks pregnant.
Yes.
And I was also very young like you. And we're going to dive into that, what it's like being a young mother and the challenges that come along with that. On top of being a young mother, your son having Downs on top of that, right? Yes. And there is another layer to your son, and I'm going to use the word layer. I'm going to use the words intersectionality. And for those of you who may not be familiar, intersectionality is when there's different aspects of a person's makeup that have them with different barriers. So with your son, there's also that racial intersectionality, correct?
Yes. So my son is mixed with Trinidadian and white. And white.
Right. So he's a biracial child.
He is.
Down syndrome.
Yes.
And can you elaborate for us, what are some of, in your opinion, being a biracial child, did that add another layer of challenges on top of the fact of his physical challenges as well?
Yes, for sure. Being that he did, so it did add some other challenges as well. Being that he does have Downs at the same time as he does, he is a young boy of color at the same time as having a mother who is white, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
right.
There
is a lot of challenges there. And Fiona, how old is your son again?
20.
So all of our sons are about in the same age bracket. And Fiona, my question for you is, your son being a young Black man, did he face challenges growing up in Aurora, being a young Black youth?
No,
Mm.
no. And maybe a part of that is how he was raised. Of
Mm.
course, I'm not trying to brush my own shoulder, but I raised him
No,
to
brush that
see.
shoulder. It's glowing and it's showing and it's glowing. So brush it.
I want him to know that he's a man
Mm.
more than anything else. So he didn't grow up saying, "Look out for this signal, look out for that. You are you." And so he did express certain things. Of course, he would wish to see that he had more Black friends, but then it also make him more mindful of the different benefits and what am I really looking into friends. Because when he did have some that didn't work out, then he realized it wasn't so much about the color friends, but the quality of people that he was around. And so for that reason, he have never expressed any concern.
Got it. And you being a Black woman in Aurora, did you face any challenges?
As a Black woman?
Yes. So when it comes to race, did you feel there were certain barriers that you may have faced being in Aurora, and your background from Jamaica? Did you face any barriers at all from maybe people of your own community?
So of my own community in Aurora, not being Black, you mean? Not my
Right.
Black community.
Correct.
So
Correct.
no, because I, for some reason, attract some really great people in my life.
You do.
And because of that, I like I told you before, I had like I was probably told many people, I had 2 or 3 experiences of racism here, but because of the majority of the amazing people that I've had, those did not negate what my experience is overall, or it does not even kind of dilute what my experience is as a Black woman in Aurora, because I made it my duty to be visible. I didn't try to wait for permission for someone to be seen or heard.
Ooh.
I just be, right? And so because I just be, even if there was something, I didn't let it stop me. But yeah.
I love that part where you say you made it a point to be visible.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give someone who doesn't know how to be visible, that plays small and doesn't want to have to rock any boats? What advice would
Wow.
you give someone who wanted to be visible but didn't know how to go about that?
So that's a big question, because the rock and boat part and being visible, we have to separate them. As a person, I have to first, it's really hard because for me, I can tell a person what advice I could suggest for them to be. But again, it's going to come from my place of how I was brought up. And so I don't know what layer that person have to chip. Just the word you've been using today was a key word, as a saying layer. What do they need to chip away before they can get there? A lot of us are dealing with different issues: self-esteem, confidence, different abuse, different background, different things that they've been dealing with in their lives. But for me, being visible was one of the things I chose to be. It's always put me first. So as a single mom, when I was just having my son, I was 19, had him when I was 20. And so you always hear you take care of your kid. No, no, no. I took care of me first, because I keep saying, if I fall apart, who's going to take care of him? People never understand that. So that, right, exactly, Enrica. Yes, 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 yes. I come first and I make that a priority. And so from that place, being visible was not even something I think about. I just do. To not rock the boat, which is the other part you ask. Wow. Nelson Mandela says, may your choices reflect your hope and not your fear. If I keep thinking about what I'm going to do to offend or hurt or rock somebody's boat, then, it's just what it is. And lastly, Karen, I will add that when I used to go to a church in Aurora, in Newmarket, it's dominantly white. And one of the things that I didn't love about being a Black girl, when I walk into the room, everybody turns around at me. Everybody calls me. Everybody say, hey, Diana. I was so uncomfortable with that excess love. I didn't know if it was all genuine. I didn't know what to do. And I always felt overwhelmed. So, yeah.
I love that. And I see how Sean is saying never stop looking for allies who support
Exactly.
and accept you.
Exactly,
And that's
Shana.
exactly how I'm going to transition into Jennifer and talking about allies and supporting. Did you, Jennifer, in your journey, ever have people that were not an ally and did not support you on your journey?
Do you mean like people I don't know, or do you mean people in my
in your circle that you
in my
do
circle?
know and they're in your network, so you would think they would be an ally and supportive? Were you ever in a situation where it kind of threw you off guard, like, whoa, I really thought they would support? And sometimes that happens with your immediate family members, and you don't have to say names, but was there ever someone in your circle that was not an ally that you thought naturally would be?
Not in my circle. My circle was very supportive, very, very supportive with everything. Um, at first, my biological father, who he was a little confused at the fact that I was going to have a child from a Black man, and but understood very fast. But my great grandmother, she was very confused because, of course, back when she was younger, it was something that was, I guess, not supposed to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
In their eyes. So she used to tell me, don't have children from a Black man. You're going to have so many problems. In the future, he will have problems. He will be abused. He will be teased. He will, all of those things. So being said, my grandmother obviously didn't have the knowledge we have today to understand.
And can you just elaborate a little bit more about that they didn't want you with a man of color? So would they verbally say that to you? Would there be dropping hints? Would they be
So my
outright
great grandmother
saying?
did say it to me once. Yes, for sure. She did.
And how did that make you feel?
Actually, it was a little sad. It was a little sad because I didn't realize that she felt that way. But now that I'm actually older, she had told me this when I was younger, and was first dating. And, I now that I'm older, I understand, I guess, a little bit where she was coming from. Because again, like I said, she didn't really know any better, I guess,
And let's go there for a second, where you're saying she didn't know any better. A lot of us do that with the older generations. We say
Yes.
they don't know any better.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever try to change that narrative where she could know better?
Yes, I did. I did have a conversation with her, and I did let her know that I think with me being his mother, he will be strong enough to support himself through anything.
And do you think that was a learned behavior that she had?
Maybe. I'm not too sure.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe society,
Yes,
teaching
yes.
that, I mean, you have to think she was my great grandmother. So she
So
would,
there's a generation gap there.
whereas
And
my mom has no problem.
right. And then also, I remember, Jennifer, when we were having some conversations, and I want to go there were some incidents that you had endured
Mm-hmm.
where you had your child in a stroller and some kind of not so
Mm-hmm.
positive things happened to you. Can you just elaborate and expand for us what those things were and how did it make you feel?
Absolutely. So I was at the mall with my son, walking, minding my own business, shopping, and two young Black ladies had walked up to me and looked at me and said, "All you white women are stealing our men," and kicked my stroller.
And so repeat that again for some of us who may have missed that. They said,
"All you white women are stealing our men."
okay, so let's stay there for a second.
Yes.
All you white women are stealing our men.
Yeah.
In your opinion, because this is your opinion,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think they were trying to imply when they said that?
Well, I'm gathering they were trying to imply that I should stay away from their Black men and those men are for them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for me, I don't feel that way. I feel you may love and choose to love whoever you want to love. Doesn't matter what color they are, who they are. Just you fall in love with whoever you fall in love with.
And I'm just going to go a little deeper with you.
Mhm.
Do you think, again, it's opinion based because you'll never know what people think.
I don't know. Yeah.
I wonder if they believe in their heart when they said that, if they said it to be malicious to you, or if they said it because they truly believe that, or if they said it because of a combination of both. Meaning, are we really trying to make this woman feel she doesn't belong? She really is stealing? And let's just make her feel awkward? Or is there, I wonder, and again, this is opinion based, we're having a discussion, is there a part of them that truly believes? Who are you to steal?
Do you know, I'm going to say all three.
I knew you would.
Yes.
I knew you would. I knew you would. And today's discussion is all about trying to understand both sides of the coin.
Yes.
Whether they're right or wrong, I really do believe when people say something, everybody says something from their genuine beliefs, their upbringing, how they were brought up in society. Whether it's right or wrong, it's truly their belief. And with everything going on in the world lately and everything happening on social media, I'm sure a lot of us can attest to, we see things that people are saying that you're like, where is that coming from? Mm-hmm. But conversations like this help us understand where people might be coming from, whether it's right or wrong. And so my other question to you is, going down the path of trying to understand where someone's coming from, can we go there with the father of your son and maybe where he was coming from when he didn't stay? Can you just go down that path for us?
Yes. So my son was born on a Monday. So as soon as he was born, he was taken, and of course, tests were done. Tests don't come back immediately. So when I went to go in to see him and I went in to see him, they had said, we have the possibility, we think that your son has Down syndrome. Mm-hmm. He would touch him, wouldn't hold him, nothing. He left, came back one day out of that week, and then came back on the Thursday evening and never returned. He didn't want nothing to do with him. Because
I love the way you said that, because we think that's why he left.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Now, I remember when we were talking, I was thinking also it could have been a scapegoat as well. Oh, because he has that, I'm leaving. In your opinion, because again, we're talking about, we don't know what people think. Do you think perhaps there could be another reason why he left on top of that?
There could be.
I think so too. I think so too.
Absolutely.
I think so too. And let's go there.
Okay. So,
I think, you go first.
So we had a relationship for just over 3 years, almost 4 years. And then a week after I had my son, I found out he had a child a week later, after my son was born. I had no idea. I did not know there was another woman even involved. And that woman, of course, had contacted me and let me know that she had had another child, which I then tried to say, well, let's get together so at least our children can grow and unite together as family. And she chose to say she wanted no part of my son.
So let's stay there for a second again. You wanted to make, some kind of relationship with her. Hey, let's have our sons have a relationship. Let's have them connect. Can I ask, for those people in the audience who may be thinking this, I know why you did it, but for those who may not understand, why did you feel the need to want to have that type of connection with her?
Because I wanted our children to grow and know each other, their family, their brothers and sisters. And I don't want too many, people don't know their siblings. And I wanted my son to know his siblings.
And when you said that, do you mean in the background culture, they don't know their siblings, correct? Yes. You're saying too many people don't know in the community, right?
Yes.
And so you want to change that narrative by having them get to know each other.
Absolutely.
Now, were you shocked when she didn't agree to do so? How did it make you feel?
Absolutely. I was very shocked. I was hurt at the same time. And then I was wondering why. And of course, I don't have that answer. But there could be many answers to that,
Yeah. And I remember when we were talking, I think one of the answers could be, hey, Jennifer. I'm just telling you, I have a son with him and you need to back off. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not trying to make nice. I don't want them to grow up together. In fact, I need you to step aside.
Yeah.
And that's the message that I feel she was trying to make.
That's exactly how I feel as well. As I thought about it more and more after it happened, more and more I thought to myself that she didn't want nothing, just straight line to nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And is that still the case today? Have she made any contact with you since?
No, I have no contact to any of them. I've never had contact after that to his father, nothing. I raised my son all by myself. Well, with my mother and family.
Mm-hmm. And do you ever feel that you would want contact?
I would love contact with his brother. Absolutely. I would love for him to know he has no siblings. He's only got me and my mother and my nieces. He doesn't have any other siblings. Yeah, and the only other person he has in his life of any kind of Black heritage is my father.
And do you feel that his upbringing would have been different if he did have contact? And if so, in which way?
I don't think it wouldn't have been different. I just think that he could have learned a little bit more about the culture of his father. I'm teaching him as much as I can teach him of what I read and what knowledge I'm gaining to teach him. But he could have actually had some history of his family, his friend, his father's friends, his aunts, his uncles, his grandparents. I mean, he doesn't have any of that connection.
And what do you do in replacement of that? Because I know you do a lot when it comes to that. I know that you're a very big advocate of that. So if you can give the viewers some examples of the things that you do as a white mother for your biracial son to ensure that he understands his heritage.
So I make sure that I cook a lot. I cook a lot of.
I know you do. I know you.
I'm always cooking, making sure that he has everything. I do cook, like his father is from Trinidad, so I cook a lot of Trinidadian dishes as well as I cook Jamaican dishes. So I want to make sure that part of culture is there. We go to Caravana every year. My son used to play mass every year. So, I mean, I like to keep all those traditions. If there's holidays that he needs to learn about that are in Trinidad, I want him to know the same as, he knows in Jamaican.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm from Trinidad too. I have my Trinidadian citizenship and I too play mass. So what I want to make sure that you and I do and your son is we dress up in feathers. We have our headpieces on, our bikinis, and we go up and down the streets with a steel pan and we get, just do what we need to do, right? That's one thing on my bucket list that I need to do with you, Jennifer.
I went to Caravana growing up all my life. My father took me, my mother took me. We went as a family every year. My son, when he was born, we took him every year. So it's a tradition. So again, he does get, that part of the culture involved, but again, like he doesn't have his family, I don't know anything about the background of any of the family.
Got it.
And I mean, where did the Downs come from?
You don't have any of that.
He, again, I've been told it only comes from my side. It could not come from the Black side. So.
And so, sorry, just to expand on that, someone said there's no way it could have come from your side, right?
It can't. No, only would come from my side. No way it could come from the Black side.
And Fiona, if I could ask you, does hearing Jennifer's story, is there anything in that story that resonates with you? Is there anything that in a sense of, I know your stories aren't the same at all, but is there anything in there where the part where she said, oh, you're stealing our Black men or whatnot? Have you heard that before? Maybe not towards you, but have you heard that before with other people?
Oh, yes. Sorry to laugh.
I know you're laughing, so I'm like, I know you've heard it. Maybe I should have said, how many times have you heard it?
And this is why, Karen, we're here talking about stigma.
Right.
Because those are a lot of the things that are become, the stigmas that we carry. And again, like she said, from the great grandparents, you can understand. I think there was a question, a comment on the screen. I don't know if it can be brought back, but somebody was asking a question about how to educate the elderly or something like if they're racist, or because when you don't know better, you can't do better. You understand? If you don't know, you just don't know. And am I excusing it? No. What am I going to do? And this is why a part of this conversation also talks about forgiveness and love,
Yes.
because and the moving forward part is very important. And so, yeah, it's very common, Karen, where you hear somebody say, "Oh, there goes another one for another black man." It's not an issue for me, but you hear it all the time. There goes another one for a black girl being gone, gone with a white man, or the other way. There goes one of the black men gone with a white girl. So there's so much negativity behind that. But we have to change that mindset. We have to change that mindset.
And I saw Rebecca's question, and I'm so glad that was brought up. I'm so glad that was brought up. How or should we educate our elders if they have racist comments or mindset? Is it our job to do that? And if so, how do we go about it? And that is such a great question, and we could bring that to the forefront. Is it our job? Because we know silence is a part of the problem, right? Silence is a part of the problem.
Right.
We also know there's another side of that coin where when we're dealing with a different generation, we could be dealing with like talking to a concrete wall. Like you feel like you're talking in circles. It's not getting anywhere. It's frustrating you. You almost want to stay silent because you're going crazy trying to, right? Right. And then you get heated. You get heated, and then you feel right. So, sorry, Jennifer, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, no. I said I just wish she was here today to see, and when my son was born, that it was not that way. There was some difficulties, absolutely, very minor, but to see that it wasn't going to be as difficult as she thought it was going to be. Because I think she'd be very proud, and she would probably be very happy that it's working, in a different way.
And, and then Fiona, back to what you were saying, we're talking about the elders, and I'm going to stay there just a little bit longer because with everything, again, I'm going to bring it back to everything that's going on in the world today. And people are a lot more vocal on social media, a lot more vocal. And we're seeing exactly how people feel. They're not holding back.
No. I believe, yes, you're right, Karen. When you're talking, that's why they say you bend the tree when it's young, not when it's old. However, you don't have to try to break through the wall. Your job is to provide the information. So if I'm working in a nursing home, it's a big picture. It's a really big piece. Who do I employ? Are these part of the activities that are happening? Because they're not exposed to different things, or they have the mindset that, okay, if you're the Black person, you're the nurse, you're the one cleaning the place. So we have to educate them. But are we going to go there and keep hitting them in the head? No. That's not the goal. We're not trying to convince. We're providing the information. And so we find that that's why the systematic racism is sticking, because if people are not leaving positions that are probably in the school system, that in their 60s, and no disrespect, we're not telling you to come off, but unless you're willing to learn, that position should be replaced. Because if you're not growing with the time, then why are we staying in a position and suppressing others from having that opportunity to learn? So yes, you're never too old to learn, never too young to teach. And so I don't think there should be an expiration date.
Never too old to learn, never too young to teach. And for us in the middle, we just don't have to do anything. For us middle age, we just sit here and watch. And I love that, because I do feel that I think we're all approximately the same age. And being in the middle, I find that we cater to two different generations. Like there's our elders that we're trying to educate, and then all of us have sons that are millennials that we need to educate as well. I have a question for both of you, because we all have sons the same age. Do you ever feel that our sons, when it comes to race or culture or anything, that you learn from your sons? Do you ever think it's reverse education?
For me, My son doesn't see nothing but happiness, my love. There is no color. It's not white, black, woman, man. He sees happiness. I always said if people with Down syndrome ruled the world, gosh, it would be such a loving, happy place. So with that being said, for me, that question is difficult because he does not see anything but everybody is the same and everybody's happy. He just wants everybody to be happy.
We all have that in common. I think all of us three, we all just want to see everyone happy. I remember when I met him, he just made me so happy. So happy. So happy. And I wanted to talk about another thing as well. What we're talking about today is not just stigmas, but we're also talking about fresh starts. Is exactly where it says you're never too young to learn. You're never too old to teach. Every day is a fresh start. Every day is a new beginning to learn something new from someone different of different walks of life. And so I have a book, as you know, Fiona, and thank you so much for purchasing a copy called A Fresh Start. So for all of you who are watching, we just want to go there for a second and have a book called A Fresh Start. And I wrote that especially because it really touches on what we're talking about today, that we always have the ability to start again and to learn new things. We have the ability to learn new things. And I want to talk about that before you leave us, Jennifer. If we could bring up that slide of an affirmation that I know Fiona, and thank you so much for choosing this affirmation as one of the ones that resonates with you. And thank you so much for that. And that affirmation that we're going to discuss is really about fresh starts and about learning new things and making new choices. So that slide that has the affirmation on it, and for those of you who have a copy of A Fresh Start, thank you so much for purchasing it. That affirmation comes from, let me just get it out for you. That comes from affirmation number 23 and also affirmation number, let me see, here we go, 29. So I'll read that for you guys, and you have it up on the screen for those of you who may not have a copy. It says, as I choose my thoughts, I choose my life. And every day I have the choice to recreate my reality. So I'm going to read that for you one more time. As I choose my thoughts, I choose my life. Every day I have the choice to recreate my reality. I have the choice to recreate my reality. And Fiona, can you just share with the viewers and share with Jennifer why exactly you chose that affirmation from my book as one of the ones that resonates with you?
Wow. So obviously, I had this book way before Black Lives Matter. I don't even like the word Black Lives Matter, to be honest to you, because I've always mattered from the day I was born. But just to put it into context, this has been in my life. I love books and I read book. I binge read book. I don't read from front to back. I binge read and I read with repetition because I wanted to register in me. And so when I was reading that, and I love that the books taught me to even think and start to assess myself. A lot of things, why, just like we talk about being visible, a lot of things is because how do I see myself? I'm a single mom. I'm Black. I'm in Canada just 2 years. Having to bring my child on the bus and everybody's looking at you. You know what I mean? You're going to like, oh my God, you're single. All the stigma. You're going to be this. Your child is going to be this. This is going to be happening. No. I'm choosing my reality. You don't get to dictate what my life is going to be.
You're not going to dictate what my life is going to be.
No, I know it takes a lot of courage to do that. So even with racism, and you were just talking, Karen, about how does your son feels, and now we're raising son. I raise my children to just be. And yes, you better see color, because if you bring a white girl in here and treat her like a slave because you're restricted, because Black guys would date white girls. I don't like if they're date them with fear. You're dating them, but you're also treating them as a prisoner because you don't want to bring them to the other crowd who may not like that, who may
Mm.
question your choice. I'm choosing my choice. It's my choice. You know, my choice is my life, and this is what it is. And so I said to my son before, because his first girlfriend is a white girl. And I said, the first thing I sat them both on the table, Karen, I think they could both fall off, right? I'm going straight. I'm like, yo, listen to me. You guys know everything. You watch enough, listen music. I'm not going to cut shortcut with you. Bang, 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 bang. I was just laying it down. But one of the things I'll share to you, what I laid down was this. I asked her, who do you see when you look at me? She was very confused when I asked her that. But because she couldn't answer, I just said, you see AJ's mom. You know, AJ, who do I ask her, you know who I see when I see you? AJ's girlfriend, not the white girl. You get what I mean?
Right.
Because we get so uncomfortable when your children don't want to bring home their dates because their choice may not please you. It's their choice. And so we want to liberate them in that. And this is what exactly we get to create a reality, Karen. And you could not have worded better in that book. Everybody have a choice to have a fresh start. And yeah, there's no excuse for that. Sorry, I went off, but
You got it. You got it. And it really says there, as I choose my thoughts,
I'm choosing
I
my
choose
life.
my life. So if there's someone out there who isn't happy with the way your life is going, the way that affirmation is positioned is then redirect your thoughts. Once you redirect your thoughts become your actions and your thoughts become your words. So once you choose your thoughts, you choose your life. So if there's something in your life currently that you don't like the way it's going, whether it's the narrative of racism, whether it's the narrative of you're not visible, choose your thoughts, and thoughts go out into the universe. And whatever you think, the positivity, as you can see, there's so much positivity on the panel today. And that's why we connect.
Yes.
As we chose our thoughts, we chose our path. And that's exactly why we are three women that have chosen our thoughts, we've chosen our path, and that's why we are the way we are today. If something happens to us tomorrow, we just redirect our thoughts.
Yes.
And it's not just coincidental. Your thoughts are powerful. The mind is a powerful, powerful thing.
Yeah,
And
one of
Jennifer,
my greatest book, my favorite book, which is the Bible, it says, so men think it. So is he. So, you know what I
and
mean?
so is he. Exactly. Your thoughts are who you become.
Yes.
And you always have the choice to recreate your reality. And Jennifer, that's why I'm so honored that you were here with us today, because the way you had the choice to recreate your reality, and you did so for your son, even when things were not going in the direction that you wanted them to go, you made certain choices of moving him from different cities and putting him in certain situations to recreate his reality.
That's right.
And I want to make sure before we go, Jennifer, is I want to make sure that you get a copy of a book, Fresh Start, and we will make sure that, yes, that is mailed out to you, that you get your copy, because you really embody, you are really, really, really embody a fresh start. You really do that. And we just want to make sure.
That means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. No, thank you. You mean a lot to us. And what you bring to the table, your story and your tenacity and your resilience means so much, because we know there's someone on the line that certainly was inspired by your, just the way you overcome adversity.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. I really do appreciate it. It is my pleasure to have been here with you guys tonight. Fiona, I tell you, you're doing such an amazing thing right now. I am so glad that I met you. It's just powerful. The connection we have is unbelievable. Yeah. And Karen, meeting you, I have not met you in person, but I can't wait.
And you know what I love about the power of virtual is I feel like
I feel like I know you guys. Like, yes. I feel like
and you know what? You don't feel like you know me. You do know me, girl.
I do know you.
You do know me. I love you, Jennifer. Thanks for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jennifer. Wow.
You and I do that.
We have 15 more minutes.
In the last 15 minutes, I want to make sure that we really talk about a fresh start. And I'm going to put it over, before we dive into the book a little bit more, Fiona, we also want to make sure, as we're talking about a fresh start, is to do a giveaway. So did you want to talk a little bit about that?
So yes. We want, like, you guys have heard the conversation that we've had before. And so I know, amazing Jennifer story. Yes, thank you, Rebecca. That is so true. We know the power of book. We know the power not just of book. And that's why when I connect with a book, Karen, I choose something with people that I can reach next door, because I know they've lived that story. And so with the fresh start, I love that it's simple because I don't like to read big books. The only big
Right.
book I've read is Becoming. And so the book is so powerful, it's so effective, and it's not just a book, but just how you put it together. I sit down and I have my lines to write my notes. And the journal piece that you have in there, or the notebooks that you have in there. So I really, really love that. And again, because I'm a binge reader, I take it up constantly, and I love to write all over my books. So as you can see, there's color all over. I love that. I love to can write over my books. And I can't tell you, except for the Bible, when was the last time I read a book that has story plus affirmation. And at this time, especially in this pandemic, oh, you have another piece called Pandemic to Peace. But you know what I mean? At this time is we need more words. Fill ourselves with the things that are going to uplift us. I don't want the past. There's a songs that I'm not going back. I'm moving forward. What are the tools that can help me to move forward? And so that's why this one was very personal for me.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, I really thought it was important to tell my life story because I'm a firm believer of when we're vulnerable and authentic, our stories empower others. So being a public figure and being in the media, and I know I have a platform and a voice, and I thought it was really important to share my story. And bringing it back to race, in our community, it's not very common for us to be open about our personal struggles, right? So I wanted to really break that stigma because we're talking about stigmas. And being a Black woman, being open about, I did, struggle with anxiety and mental health issues. And I did struggle with, divorce or finances. I did struggle with those things. And I think it's important to bring those stories to the forefront. So I did write about that. And like you said, the affirmation portion is so important to affirm who we are, And then the journal component in the back for writing.
Yes.
For writing. So for the giveaway, what we're going to do is we're going to hashtag the word fresh start. So if you just want to write that in the comment section and just hashtag fresh start. And what we're going to do is we'll reach out to the winner after and make sure and get your copies signed and delivered to your. So just to qualify for the competition or for the giveaway, we're going to hashtag the word fresh start. And this is sponsored, correct, Fiona?
Yes. So an amazing client. This is why I said I could talk forever about my clients and about Aurora. And so we have to change our mindset because, listen, I have some amazing supporters. And so one of my clients from Coconut Village just always hear me talk. And again, I love books. So I bring them with me everywhere and so she walks into the salon and she saw my book displayed and she, sat there getting her pedicure done and reading. And I was talking about, we're actually giving away one of this tonight. And so she said, I want to sponsor that. I want to sponsor. So can I pay instead of you giving it away? Can I buy the book for the person? And so I was just so humble. And of course I said yes. I'm like, yeah, because again, Karen, there's a stigma where as Black, sometimes we are afraid to take money. We're afraid to sell our products because I know I'm bad at that. But I love giving. But yes, we're afraid. It's not comfortable for most of us. And so I was very humble and very grateful for her blessing. And I'm like, yes, because it's going to further the mission that Karen is doing as well in so much that you do for your community. From just the other night, I was watching your program with the men. Black men cry or Black men speak up. And we see how much work. One man was saying he didn't have support. He didn't have a mentor. And so the time that you put into your work to serve your community, it does cost. And so giving back for you to further that ministry that you're doing, it could not have been more timely. And so, so big up to my client.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I love what you said about, finances, right? And a lot of us are, that's a good word, uncomfortable about around finances. And you know, Fiona, in chapter 8, I do a very deep dive into finances and our relationship with money and our relationship and the awkwardness with money and how it feels to have money and to not have money and where those feelings come from. And not only does it speak about finances, I really want to touch on before we end is I want to talk about something that embodies everything that we talked about today, and that's the concept of forgiveness. The concept of forgiveness is so key. Forgiveness in life from a racial standpoint, because maybe there's some of us on the line who are watching, or yourself, Fiona, after having some things happen to us, or Jennifer's story, for example, forgiveness is so key.
Yes.
And before we bring up the slide, if I was to ask you, Fiona, is there ever a time in your life, you don't have to give me an example, but ever a time in your life where you found it challenging to forgive, but you did?
Of course.
Especially around race?
Probably not around race, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
And
definitely not around race.
was it challenging to forgive? And was it just over time that you were able to forgive? Was it something that you just figured, hey, what the hell, I may as well forgive? Is it something they said? What is it that made you forgive?
Everybody has something that makes them who they are.
Amen.
And so one of my thing that makes me who I am is my faith. So my faith in God is the main part of who I am. It's the one that helps me to make the decisions that I could not do myself. Because yes, we're human. We want to stay hurt and mad, and but like I heard it said by many people, and Steve Harvey was one of them, it's like drinking poison, hoping for the other person to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to die. So.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like drinking poison, waiting for the other person to die. So Karen, it goes back to what you said in the affirmation. It's my choice. My choice is my life. And forgiveness is just it's just so heavy. Being bogged down with that guilt or that stress or whatever it is, it's a daily choice. It's not going to happen overnight. And it doesn't mean we're going to forget it. But it no longer hurts. You will know when it's finished. It no longer hurts when your concept of forgiveness is, exactly. So you will know because it no longer elicit the same pain as it did in the beginning. And yeah, that's the best way I can put it. I'm not sure if we're missing anybody comments or question, but that's the best way I can put it is it's a personal decision. If you want to grow, if you want to be effective, and if you do not want to have a shackle on your feet, start forgiving.
And forgiveness, like the comments are coming in, is so critical. Forgiveness is critical. And when Richard's saying, when someone forgives you, you are more open to forgive yourself. And the key to forgiveness is yourself. And what I want to do, Richard, that is so on point. What I want to do as we're wrapping things up, there could be someone watching as well who may be dealing with unforgiveness, whether that's from a racial standpoint, from something someone did to them, for something that someone didn't do to them. I want to make sure before we wrap up that we end off with some key points. I always want to make sure and leave viewers with key points on how to forgive, just in case that someone out there is struggling with forgiveness or how to go about it. I want to make sure and leave you with some key point on how to forgive. So what I'm going to do is bring up a slide that I sometimes use in my workshops. And I think that this acronym of forgiveness will be a tool or a resource or a takeaway that we could use when it comes to forgiveness, because especially with a lot of things going on, again, I'm bringing back to what's going on currently. There has been some hurt. There has been, should I say some hurt or there's been a lot of hurt. There's been a lot of disappointment. There's been a lot of challenges. There's been a lot of relationship breakdown due to the pandemic. And there has been a lot of breakdown due to a lot of the racial things that are going on in our society. There's going to be that need for forgiveness. So on the slide that we're going to bring up, here's an acronym for you guys that I really want to make sure and leave you with when it comes to forgiveness. And this is some keys to remember. So the F, what I always try to teach, is for focus. I really want you guys to focus on what is it that's hurting me? What is it that has me feeling this way? Sometimes we don't know that we need to forgive. So I always encourage us to meditate and take a deep breath and just focus on what is having me feel this way. And sometimes when you really focus on where the emotion is coming from, it gives you a lot more clarity onto the next step, which is the O in forgiveness, which is one step. Now that you have a little bit of clarity because you focused on where the forgiveness needs to occur, I always suggest to my clients who I'm working with is one step at a time. Sometimes forgiving wholeheartedly right away can be surface level. It's not authentic. We say we forgive. We say the words because it sounds nice, but it's not authentic. So I always encourage clients to take it one step at a time. For example, you could forgive smaller things. So instead of forgiving the bigger things, the person who took all your money, the person who took your kids, who took your pride, one step at a time. Maybe start with the person who took your lunch, took your seat on the bus, took your lane on the street. So I always suggest starting with the smaller patterns of forgiveness to work your way up to the bigger ones. The next is R in forgiveness, and that is about releasing. It's so key. It's so key to release.
Yes.
Release the resent and reflect. Release. I no longer want to feel this resentment. Always practice the habit of releasing, whether it even be releasing the person. Sometimes we have to release someone out of our life that we think is meant for us.
Yeah.
I'm a really firm believer in release. I release. I have an affirmation in the book. I believe it's affirmation 82. It's chapter 8. It's from the overcoming. I release what no longer serves me. I release what no longer serves me. I release what no longer serves me. The G, I always practice, and I believe that comes from chapter 2 in the book. And mind me if I don't have them correct, but I can get those for you. The G is for gratitude. Gratitude. I talk a lot about gratitude. I'm grateful for the situation that happened to me. I'm grateful that I was hurt because I could learn from that situation. I'm grateful that I'm left by myself because now I have the opportunity to find who I am again. I'm grateful I was released from that job. Now I could go ahead and find my purpose.
That's right.
There's always room to be gratitude. Gratitude doesn't mean you have to pretend that you're happy.
No.
But gratitude is a state of mind. No matter what situation we're in, we're grateful, even for the things that aren't going our way, are still things to be grateful for.
That's right.
I always do something called gratitude subtraction. Sorry, minusing, taking away. If this wasn't to happen to me, where would I be?
Yes.
So you minus it. If he wasn't to have left me, where would I be? Where would I be if this did not happen to me? And the I is for internal. And I believe Richard spoke about that. Internal. Forgiveness starts from within. It's internal.
Yes.
To be able to forgive someone else, we need to forgive ourselves a lot.
Yes.
I forgive myself for making that mistake. I forgive myself for saying that comment that I didn't mean to say. I forgive myself for forgetting to pick up the children. I forgive myself for not being the best friend I could be. And I want to do better. I forgive myself.
Mm-hmm.
The V is for visualize. If you can't forgive the person, I always suggest Visualize, close your eyes, and look and see what it would feel like with full forgiveness, with 100% forgiveness. What would that visually feel like if it was fully forgiven? What would my life be like with unconditional forgiveness? And I just visualize that, and I see happiness. I visualize peace. I visualize joy. I visualize it's gratitude. And then the E in forgive, it's so, so key, is to empathize.
Yes.
I always suggest that you empathize with the other person who may have wronged you and put yourself in their position. Empathize with them, like Fiona, the Bible passage, forgive them, Lord, for they know no better. Empathize with maybe they weren't in a good place.
Yes.
Maybe they weren't themselves today.
Yes.
Maybe something was off with them.
Yes.
Maybe they're in a place of loss. And what can I do even though they wronged me? What can I do to empathize and put myself in their shoes and do something for them? Again, it has to be authentic.
Yes.
And the key to forgiveness, and there's one thing that I want to make sure that we leave on, Fiona. It's very key, and I want this to be the wrap up. Forgiveness is also accepting. I want you guys to write this down. Forgiveness is also accepting the apology that you never got. I knew you would like. Forgiveness is accepting the apology that you never, ever got. You don't have to have an apology to have forgiveness.
No.
Forgiving is the apology that you never got.
Right.
So that being said, I want to close out tonight. We will make sure that we reach out to our winner and mail out a fresh start. Fiona, it was such an honor to host this for you tonight. Thank you so much for having me. I love when we just do this together and when we make things happen. I'm so proud of everything that you're doing for the community. We will make sure and drop my website. So if you guys want to get a hold of me, Fiona, I just adore you. Thank you for being a part of my life and for blessing my viewers with everything you do with the spa, your scrubs, just everything that you provide for us. Just thank you so much for showing up and being just that warrior woman that you are. Thank you for being an inspiration of my life. And most importantly, thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you so much. So that is it for us for tonight. We want to just make sure and thank before we go is the production team. Without them, this is just not possible. Thank you so much, Sassy Levy Productions. You guys always provide a safe place. The technology behind this and the production and the flow is just not possible without you. So we thank you and we praise you because with everything being online, it's not possible without technology. So just want to make sure and give a shout out to that. Fiona, to the community of Aurora, I just love you. Thank you for having me in Aurora. I felt all Aurora-fied today. So thank you. I just love the community. I love the town. I love everything Aurora is about and everything it represents. I love when I visit there. I feel so at home and I'm so excited to visit again sometime soon. Aurora, thank you so much for everything that you do and everything you do at the table. And that is it for us. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.